Welcome to my channel Coin Worth Million. This channel is a special place where every video brings you new knowledge, entertainment, and exciting experiences. Here you will find informative content, engaging stories, and everything that sparks your curiosity. Our goal is to make every moment enjoyable, help you learn something new, and be a part of this growing family. So join us and start this wonderful journey today. The 2013 United States 1-cent coin, more popularly known as the penny, represents a significant and enduring element of America's circulating coinage, embodying over a century of tradition with its enduring portrait of Abraham Lincoln. By 2013, the Lincoln cent had already been in continuous production for more than 100 years, having first been issued in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The 2013 penny belongs to the modern series of Lincoln cents that feature the Union Shield reverse design, which was introduced in 2010 to replace the four special bicentennial designs of 2009 that celebrated the 200th anniversary of Lincoln's birth and the 100th anniversary of the coin itself. The obverse, or front side, of the 2013 penny continues to feature the familiar right-facing profile portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner in 1909. This portrait has become one of the most iconic images in United States coinage history, and despite subtle modifications over the decades, it remains a powerful representation of Lincoln's legacy as the 16th President of the United States, who is remembered for leading the nation through the Civil War and abolishing slavery through the Emancipation Proclamation. The obverse design of the 2013 Lincoln cent includes the inscriptions, "Liberty," to the left of Lincoln's portrait, "In God We Trust," along the upper rim, and the date, 2013, with the corresponding mint mark D for Denver, P for Philadelphia, or S for San Francisco, to the right of the portrait. The inclusion of "In God We Trust" on the penny is historically significant, as the phrase has appeared on U.S. coins since the Civil War era, and it became the national motto in 1956. The placement of the mint mark allows collectors and numismatists to identify where the coin was struck: Philadelphia P, Denver D, or San Francisco S. In 2013, most pennies were struck at the Philadelphia and Denver mints for general circulation, while San Francisco produced proof versions intended primarily for collectors. The design remained consistent with the Lincoln portrait introduced in 1909, though over the years, various refinements to Lincoln's bust, including sharpening of details and adjustments to relief, have been made to accommodate modern minting technology. The reverse side of the 2013 penny bears the Union Shield design, which was introduced in 2010 and designed by Lyndall Bass, with sculpting by Joseph Mena. This design depicts a Union Shield with 13 vertical stripes representing the original 13 states, joined by a horizontal bar with the inscription, E pluribus unum, which translates to, out of many, one, symbolizing the unity of the nation. Across the shield is a scroll inscribed with the word, 1 cent, denoting the coin's denomination. The design represents Lincoln's role in preserving the United States as a single, united country during the Civil War. It replaced the Lincoln Memorial design that had been used from 1959 to 2008, which itself marked the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth and the 50th anniversary of the Lincoln cent. The transition to the shield reverse in 2010 marked a return to a more symbolic and historically resonant design, emphasizing national unity and heritage. In terms of composition, the 2013 penny is made primarily of zinc with a thin copper plating. Since 1982, the United States Mint has produced cents composed of 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper, with the copper serving as a plating material that gives the coin its traditional reddish appearance. Prior to mid-1982, pennies were composed mainly of copper, 95% copper, 5% zinc, but due to the rising cost of copper, the mint transitioned to the copper-plated zinc composition to reduce production expenses. As a result, the 2013 penny, like all modern cents, is lighter in weight compared to its earlier counterparts, weighing 2.5 grams with a diameter of 19.05 millimeters and a thickness of 1.52 millimeters. It has a plain edge, consistent with all U.S. cents since their inception in 1793. The switch to zinc core cents has also resulted in certain challenges, such as their tendency to corrode more easily when exposed to moisture, particularly if the copper plating is breached. Mintages for the 2013 penny were substantial, reflecting the continued widespread use of the 1-cent coin in daily commerce, despite ongoing debates about its economic viability due to production costs exceeding its face value. In 2013, the Philadelphia Mint struck approximately 3.35 billion pennies, while the Denver Mint produced about 3.37 billion. San Francisco issued both standard proof coins for collectors and a limited number of special uncirculated sets. These mintages make the 2013 penny a very common coin in circulation, and as such, most examples hold only face value, 1 cent, in circulated condition. However, collectors often seek uncirculated, proof, or high-grade specimens, especially those certified by professional grading services, such as PCGS or NGC, with a grade of Mississippi 67 or higher, which can carry a modest premium due to their pristine condition. The 2013 Lincoln penny plays a role not only as currency but also as a collector's item and a piece of American heritage. For numismatists, it represents a continuation of the longest-running design series in U.S. coinage history, the Lincoln cent. This series has spanned multiple reverse designs, including the Wheat Ears Reverse 1909-1958, the Lincoln Memorial Reverse 1959-2008, the Bicentennial Series 2009, and the Union Shield Reverse 2010-present. The 2013 issue sits firmly within the Union Shield era and reflects the Mint's effort to maintain historical continuity while also updating designs to be more symbolic and educational. From an economic and policy perspective, the penny has been the subject of much debate in the 21st century, including in 2013, due to its declining purchasing power and the fact that production costs, including materials, labor, and distribution, often exceed its face value. In 2013, it was estimated that it cost around 1.8 cents to produce each penny, leading to an overall loss for the Mint on every coin made. Despite this, the penny remains a beloved and widely used denomination in the United States, in part due to its cultural significance, its association with Abraham Lincoln, and resistance to change from both the public and certain commercial interests. The collectibility of the 2013 penny depends largely on its condition, rarity of any minting errors, and whether it is part of a special mint set. While circulation strike coins are generally abundant and worth only their face value, error coins, such as off-center strikes, double dies, or coins with improper plating, can attract interest from collectors and may command significantly higher prices depending on the type and severity of the error. Proof coins from the San Francisco Mint, especially those with a deep cameo (DCAM) finish, are also collected and valued more highly than standard business strikes. From a historical and cultural standpoint, the penny continues to serve as a symbolic link between the present and the past. Abraham Lincoln, one of the most revered figures in American history, remains immortalized on the coin, reminding Americans daily of his contributions to unity, equality, and freedom. The Union Shield Reverse further reinforces this message of unity, making the coin both a functional piece of currency and a miniature piece of historical storytelling. In classrooms, penny drives, and charity initiatives, the penny also plays a role in teaching young Americans about money, savings, and philanthropy. By 2013, technological advancements in minting had ensured high-quality strikes with intricate details on both the obverse and reverse. The use of modern coining presses, laser-engraved dies, and improved quality control measures meant that most 2013 pennies featured sharp details in Lincoln's hair, beard, and clothing, as well as clear definition in the shield's lines and inscriptions. The U.S. Mint also distributed 2013 pennies through standard channels including banks, businesses, and direct sales to collectors via official mint sets, proof sets, and rolls. Over time, the 2013 penny will likely remain a common date in the series, with little numismatic rarity unless pristine examples or notable error coins emerge. However, As discussions about eliminating the penny continue, future collectors may look back on these early 21st century issues as part of the final era of the Lincoln cent. Should the penny ever be discontinued, common circulation strikes like the 2013 cent could gain historical interest as relics of a bygone era of small denomination coinage. In conclusion, the 2013 United States 1-cent coin is an important representative of modern American coinage, merging over a century of tradition with contemporary design elements. Its copper-plated zinc composition reflects the economic considerations of modern minting, while its design pays homage to Abraham Lincoln and the enduring unity of the United States. With billions minted, it remains a ubiquitous yet historically meaningful coin that continues to circulate in pockets, purses, and collections across the nation. Though its monetary value is minimal, its cultural and historical significance ensures its place in American life and numismatic study. Next coin. The 2016 United States 1-cent coin, commonly known as the penny, stands as a continuation of the long and historically significant Lincoln cent series, which has been in continuous production since 1909 and remains the longest-running coin design in the history of United States coinage. The 2016 penny carries with it over a century of American history, technological evolution in minting, and cultural symbolism tied to the legacy of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, whose portrait has graced the obverse of the coin since its inception. Introduced initially in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth, the Lincoln cent has undergone several reverse design changes over its lifespan, with the current Union Shield reverse design first introduced in 2010 and continuing through 2016. This modern design replaced the Lincoln Memorial reverse that had been used for 50 years, 1959-2008, and the four commemorative bicentennial designs of 2009, which celebrated different aspects of Lincoln's life. The 2016 issue thus represents the seventh consecutive year of the Union Shield era, symbolizing unity and national heritage while maintaining the familiar and enduring obverse portrait of Lincoln created by Victor David Brenner over a century earlier. The obverse front of the 2016 penny features the right-facing profile of Abraham Lincoln, one of the most iconic and widely recognized images in American numismatics. Above Lincoln's head is the inscription, "In God We Trust," a national motto that has appeared on U.S. coins since the mid-19th century and was officially adopted in 1956. To the left of Lincoln's bust is the word, "Liberty," representing the core American value of freedom, and to the right is the date, 2016, accompanied by the mint mark, either P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, or S for San Francisco. As in most years of modern penny production, the Philadelphia and Denver mints were responsible for striking the bulk of circulation coins, while the San Francisco mint produced proof and special collector versions. It is important to note that in 2016, pennies struck at the Philadelphia mint did not carry a mint mark, in keeping with long-standing tradition, as the Philadelphia P mark was not added to cents until 2017 for the first time in the series' history. The design of Lincoln's portrait remains true to Brenner's original, though over the decades, advances in die making and digital sculpting have refined the details, enhancing the sharpness of Lincoln's hair, beard, and coat. The reverse back of the 2016 Lincoln cent bears the Union Shield design, conceived by artist Lyndall Bass and sculpted by U.S. Mint engraver Joseph Mena. This design is deeply symbolic, featuring a shield with 13 vertical stripes representing the original 13 colonies, bound together under a single horizontal bar inscribed with E pluribus unum, meaning, out of many, one. This motto underscores the idea of unity from diversity, a principle Abraham Lincoln championed during the Civil War. Across the shield is a scroll bearing the denomination, 1 cent, while the inscription, United States of America, arcs across the top. The Union Shield was chosen to signify Lincoln's preservation of the Union during one of the most turbulent times in American history, and its adoption in 2010 brought a new era of symbolism to the cent, moving away from the literal depiction of the Lincoln Memorial to a more emblematic and historically resonant representation. The composition of the 2016 penny is the same as all U.S. cents minted since mid-1982, a core of 97.5% zinc coated with a thin layer of 2.5% copper plating, which gives the coin its traditional reddish copper appearance. This composition was introduced to address the rising cost of copper, as earlier cents pre-1982 were composed of 95% copper and 5% zinc. Each 2016 penny weighs 2.5 grams, has a diameter of 19.05 millimeters, 0.75 inches, a thickness of 1.52 millimeters, and a plain, smooth edge. The shift to zinc-based cents, while economically motivated, has led to certain drawbacks, such as their susceptibility to corrosion or zinc rot when the copper plating is breached, exposing the reactive zinc core to moisture and air. Mintage figures for the 2016 penny were very high, reflecting the continued demand for 1-cent coins in daily commerce, even amidst ongoing discussions about phasing out the denomination due to production costs exceeding its face value. In 2016, the Philadelphia Mint struck approximately 4.6 billion pennies, while the Denver Mint produced around 4.8 billion, bringing the total circulation strike production to over 9 billion coins. Additionally, the San Francisco Mint issued millions of proof cents for inclusion in annual proof sets and special uncirculated sets aimed at collectors. These mintages place the 2016 penny firmly among the most common dates in the Lincoln Shield series, meaning that most examples encountered in circulation hold only their nominal value of 1 cent. In terms of numismatic value and collectability, the 2016 Lincoln cent generally carries minimal premium in circulated condition due to its vast mintage and widespread availability. However, coins in high mint state grades Mississippi 67 and above, particularly those certified by professional grading services such as PCGS or NGC, can command modest premiums, especially for those with exceptional luster, strong strike, and few contact marks. Proof versions, especially Deep Cameo (DCAM) examples from the San Francisco Mint, are also collected and valued more than their face value, though they remain affordable due to their modernity and relatively high survival rates. Error coins from 2016, such as double die obverses, off-center strikes, or coins with plating errors, can attract significant collector interest, with values varying depending on the nature and rarity of the error. From a historical perspective, the 2016 penny reflects an era in which the penny continued to be both a practical and symbolic part of American currency, despite increasing debate over its cost-effectiveness. In 2016, it cost the U.S. Mint approximately 1.5 to 1.8 cents to produce a single penny, resulting in a net loss on every coin minted. Various studies, economic reports, and even legislative discussions have questioned the necessity of continuing penny production, with arguments both for and against its elimination. Proponents of keeping the penny cite its role in everyday transactions, psychological pricing, and its cultural familiarity, while opponents highlight its inefficiency, environmental impact, and the fact that its purchasing power has diminished significantly over the decades. The cultural significance of the penny extends beyond its economic role. Abraham Lincoln remains one of the most admired figures in American history, and his enduring presence on the smallest denomination of U.S. coinage serves as a daily reminder of his leadership, values, and the struggle for unity and equality during the Civil War era. The penny also features prominently in American idioms, traditions, and charitable efforts. Penny drives, a penny saved is a penny earned, and lucky pennies all reflect its place in the cultural consciousness. For young collectors and students, the penny often serves as an introduction to numismatics, with its low face value and high availability making it an accessible and educational collectible. Technological improvements in minting processes by 2016 ensured that most Lincoln cents from this era were struck with remarkable precision and consistency. Digital die-making techniques, laser engraving, and advanced coining presses allowed for sharp details on both the obverse and reverse designs. The U.S. Mint also continued to issue collector products, such as annual mint sets, proof sets, and uncirculated coin sets, which included pristine examples of the 2016 cent. These coins, when preserved in their original packaging, often remain in superb condition, making them attractive to collectors who aim to assemble complete sets of modern U.S. coinage. The long-term outlook for the 2016 penny is that it will remain a common and easily obtainable coin for many decades, with billions in existence and circulating. However, as with all coinage, the potential for collectible value lies in high-grade specimens, unique errors, or coins that remain pristine despite the passing of time. Should the penny ever be discontinued in the future, a possibility that continues to be debated, common dates such as 2016 may acquire greater historical significance as part of the final chapters of the penny's circulation history. In summary, the 2016 United States 1-cent coin embodies both continuity and change in American numismatics. It continues the century-old tradition of honoring Abraham Lincoln, showcases the modern Union Shield reverse that symbolizes unity, and reflects contemporary economic realities through its zinc-based composition. While its individual monetary value is minimal, its historical, cultural, and educational importance remain profound. For collectors, it offers an accessible piece of American history, and for the general public, it persists as a familiar and enduring part of everyday commerce, jingling in pockets, resting in change jars, and carrying forward a legacy that began over 100 years ago. Next coin. The 1982 United States 1-cent coin, commonly referred to as the penny, holds a unique and highly significant place in the history of American coinage because it marks a pivotal transition year for the composition of the cent, representing both the end of the traditional copper-based penny and the beginning of the modern zinc-based version. This change, implemented by the United States Mint, was driven by escalating copper prices, which had made it increasingly uneconomical to continue producing pennies primarily from copper. Prior to 1982, the Lincoln cent had been composed of 95% copper and 5% zinc, a bronze alloy, since 1962, while earlier compositions included traces of tin. By 1982, the intrinsic metal value of the copper in a single penny was approaching or even exceeding its face value of 1 cent, leading to a pressing need for cost reduction. As a result, the Mint introduced a new composition in mid-1982, a core of 97.5% zinc with a 2.5% copper plating. This transition not only altered the metallic makeup but also the weight of the coin, dropping from 3.11 grams for the copper cents to 2.5 grams for the zinc cents. Thus, 1982 is historically notable because both types, copper and copper-plated zinc, were struck during the same year, creating one of the most complex and interesting series of varieties in modern U.S. numismatics. The obverse front of the 1982 penny features the iconic right-facing profile of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner and first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. This design, one of the longest-running in U.S. coinage history, shows Lincoln in a dignified pose, with the inscription, "In God We Trust," along the upper rim, "Liberty," to the left of his portrait, and the date, 1982, to the right, accompanied by the appropriate mint mark D, for Denver, no mint mark for Philadelphia, and S, for San Francisco proof issues. The obverse remained largely unchanged during this transitional year, though subtle die differences and wear patterns have been documented by collectors. The reverse back of the 1982 Lincoln cent still bore the Lincoln Memorial design introduced in 1959, designed by Frank Gasparo to commemorate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. This design depicts the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C., with the inscriptions, United States of America, above, E pluribus unum, Latin for, out of many, one, just above the memorial, and 1 cent, below. Interestingly, a tiny image of the seated statue of Lincoln, as seen within the actual memorial, is included at the center of the design and is visible under magnification. The memorial reverse had been in use for over 2 decades by 1982 and would continue until 2008, when it was replaced by the 4 special bicentennial designs in 2009 and ultimately the Union Shield reverse in 2010. The most defining feature of the 1982 penny series is its variety complexity. Due to the mid-year change in composition and the simultaneous presence of multiple die and hub styles, there are a total of 7 recognized regular issue varieties for 1982, not including errors or special strikes. These are 1. 1982 large date copper, 2. 1982 small date copper, 3. 1982 large date zinc, 4. 1982 small date zinc, 5. 1982D large date copper, 6. 1982D large date zinc, 7. 1982D small date zinc. Notably, there is no officially confirmed 1982D small date copper sent for circulation, but a single specimen has been authenticated, making it one of the rarest and most valuable Lincoln cents ever discovered, worth tens of thousands of dollars due to its accidental production with the old copper planchet at the Denver Mint after the official switch to zinc. The presence of both large and small date styles resulted from the Mint's use of different master dies during that year. The large date variety has thicker numerals, particularly in the 2 and 8, and a taller, fuller appearance, while the small date variety has thinner, more delicate numerals with the 2 more curved and the 8 more symmetrical. From a minting perspective, the 1982 pennies were struck at 3 mints: Philadelphia No Mint Mark, Denver D, and San Francisco S. The Philadelphia and Denver facilities produced billions of coins for general circulation, while San Francisco issued proof coins for collectors, all of which were struck in the new zinc composition. In total, over 10.7 billion Lincoln cents were minted in 1982 across all types, making it one of the highest mintage years in U.S. cent history. This massive output ensures that 1982 pennies, in general, are very common, though the key lies in identifying the correct variety and composition. Determining whether a 1982 penny is copper or zinc can be done in 2 main ways: by weight or by sound. Copper cents weigh 3.11 grams, while zinc cents weigh 2.5 grams. Using a precise scale is the most reliable method, but a drop test on a hard surface produces a distinctive ring for copper cents and a duller clunk for zinc cents. This distinction has fascinated collectors and treasure hunters, as many people still search their change or coin rolls in hopes of finding rare varieties, especially the elusive 1982D small date copper. In terms of numismatic value, most 1982 pennies are worth only their face value in circulated condition due to their enormous mintages. However, uncirculated examples, particularly those in Mississippi 66 or higher, can fetch modest premiums, typically a few dollars, and proof coins from San Francisco with deep cameo finishes can sell for slightly higher amounts depending on condition. The standout is the 1982D small date copper, which has been sold for over $10,000 in certified condition because of its extreme rarity. Other small date copper cents and certain error coins, such as double dies, off-center strikes, or broad strikes from 1982 also attract collector interest. The composition change of 1982 was part of a larger trend of cost-saving measures within the U.S. Mint during the late 20th century. Rising metal prices had already led to changes in the nickel, dime, and quarter compositions in the mid-1960s, and by the early 1980s, the penny became the next focus. Public reaction to the change was relatively mild, as the coins looked virtually identical on the outside due to the copper plating, though some individuals and collectors lamented the loss of the heavier, traditional copper penny that had been a mainstay of American commerce for generations. From a historical standpoint, the 1982 penny represents the bridge between 2 eras: the classic copper cent that had been in place for over a century and the modern copper-plated zinc cent that continues to this day, as of 2025. It also sits within the larger narrative of the Lincoln Memorial Design era, 1959-2008, which was the second major reverse in the Lincoln cent's history after the Wheat Years reverse, 1909-1958. Abraham Lincoln's portrait continued to serve as a familiar reminder of his leadership, emancipation efforts, and preservation of the Union during the Civil War. Technological aspects of the 1982 penny production were reflective of their time. Traditional hubbing methods were still in use, and the mint was beginning to adopt more modern die-making techniques. Despite the transitional nature of this year, the coins were struck with standard quality, and their details, when preserved in mint state, show clear elements of Lincoln's hair, beard, and the memorial's columns. The economic context of 1982 also shaped this decision. Inflation during the late 1970s and early 1980s, coupled with fluctuating copper prices, pushed the intrinsic value of copper cents to nearly 2 cents at times, sparking fears of melting for profit. By switching to a zinc core, the mint reduced production costs significantly while maintaining public confidence in the cent's appearance. For collectors and historians, the 1982 penny is a cornerstone of modern Lincoln cent collecting. Because of its numerous varieties, it provides an engaging challenge. Assembling a full set of all 7 recognized types is considered a milestone in the hobby. Roll hunters, in particular, enjoy searching for copper small dates or rare transitional errors. Educationally, the 1982 penny is also used to teach concepts such as intrinsic versus face value, minting processes, and the economics of coinage. The long-term significance of the 1982 penny will remain strong, as it is not only a common coin but also a marker of one of the most important transitions in U.S. coinage history. Its varieties, errors, and the single confirmed 1982D small date copper make it a perpetual subject of fascination, and as time passes, high-grade examples, particularly in copper, may continue to gain collector interest. Next coin. The 2014 United States 1-cent coin, widely known as the penny, represents a continuation of one of the longest-standing traditions in American coinage history, the Lincoln Cent series, which began in 1909 to commemorate the centennial of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. By 2014, the Lincoln Cent had been in circulation for 105 years, making it the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical person and the longest-running coin design in the nation's history. The 2014 issue belongs to the Union Shield reverse era, introduced in 2010 to symbolize the preservation of the United States as one nation, a theme strongly associated with Lincoln's presidency during the Civil War. The obverse of the 2014 penny features the iconic right-facing portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner in 1909 and adapted over the years with subtle modifications to enhance detail using modern die-making techniques. The inscriptions on the obverse include, "In God We Trust," along the upper rim, "Liberty," to the left of Lincoln's profile, and the date, 2014, accompanied by the mint mark on the right side of Lincoln's bust. Coins minted in Denver carry the D mint mark, those from San Francisco bear an S, used mainly for proof issues, and those from Philadelphia traditionally carry no mint mark for cents, with the P mint mark first added to pennies only in 2017. The reverse of the 2014 Lincoln Cent continues the Union Shield design by artist Lyndall Bass and sculptor-engraver Joseph Mena. This design prominently features a shield with 13 vertical stripes representing the original colonies, joined by a horizontal banner inscribed with E pluribus unum, out of many, one, signifying unity and strength. A scroll crosses the shield displaying the denomination, 1 cent, while United States of America arcs above the design. This replaced the long-running Lincoln Memorial Reverse 1959-2008 and followed the 2009 bicentennial reverse designs that celebrated Lincoln's life and the centennial of the coin itself. The Union Shield design has been praised for its simplicity, historical symbolism, and clean lines that translate well in modern minting, ensuring durability and clarity even under heavy circulation wear. In terms of composition, the 2014 penny follows the same standard adopted in mid-1982. It consists of 97.5% zinc with a 2.5% copper plating. This change, introduced decades earlier, was driven by the rising price of copper, which made producing solid bronze cents 95% copper, 5% zinc economically unsustainable. As a result, Modern scents are primarily zinc-based but maintain a copper-colored surface for continuity with earlier issues. The 2014 penny weighs 2.5 grams, has a diameter of 19.05 millimeters, a thickness of 1.52 millimeters, and features a plain edge. The use of zinc cores has led to certain drawbacks over time, including increased susceptibility to corrosion if the thin copper plating is compromised, a characteristic noted by collectors when handling or storing post-1982 pennies. Mintage numbers for the 2014 penny were among the highest in recent history, reflecting the continued demand for 1-cent coins in circulation despite growing debates over the denomination's cost-effectiveness. In 2014, the Philadelphia Mint struck approximately 4.1 billion pennies, while the Denver Mint produced around 4.3 billion, for a total circulation strike mintage of over 8.4 billion coins. The San Francisco Mint issued millions of proof coins and special collector strikes, including standard proof sets and silver proof sets containing the 2014 cent. These figures make the 2014 penny a very common issue, widely available in everyday commerce and coin rolls. From a numismatic perspective, the 2014 penny generally holds minimal premium in circulated condition due to its massive mintage and recent age. However, coins in exceptional condition, such as mint state MS 67 or higher, particularly with strong luster and minimal contact marks, can command modest premiums from collectors seeking to complete modern Lincoln Shield cent sets. Proof versions, especially those with deep cameo DCAM contrast from San Francisco, are also collected and valued slightly higher than face value, though they remain affordable for most collectors because of their high production numbers and survival rates. As with all modern coins, the potential for value significantly increases in the presence of minting errors or unusual varieties. Error types that collectors look for in the 2014 penny include off-center strikes, double dies on either the obverse or reverse die cracks, plating bubbles, or coins struck on defective planchettes. Depending on the severity and rarity, such errors can range from a few dollars to several $100s for dramatic examples. The cultural and historical role of the penny in 2014 remained significant, though increasingly controversial. Despite its low purchasing power and the fact that it cost the U.S. Mint around 1.6 to 1.8 cents to produce each 1-cent coin in that period, the penny continued to circulate widely. Public sentiment toward the penny has historically been resistant to change, with many Americans expressing attachment to the coin due to its familiarity, its connection to Abraham Lincoln, and its utility in psychological pricing, e.g., $9.99 pricing structures. Nevertheless, discussions about discontinuing the penny persisted in economic and legislative circles throughout the 2010s, citing production costs, environmental concerns, and the inefficiency of handling such low-value coins. From a design and production standpoint, the 2014 penny benefited from advancements in minting technology, including the use of digital engraving, laser-frosted dies for proof coins, and high-speed coining presses capable of producing billions of coins with consistent quality. These technologies allowed for sharp details on Lincoln's hair, beard, and clothing, as well as clean, crisp lines on the Union Shield. Collector sets issued by the U.S. Mint in 2014 often included these cents in pristine, uncirculated, or proof condition, many of which remain widely available today. Collecting the 2014 penny is typically pursued as part of a broader goal of assembling a complete Lincoln Shield cent collection 2010 present. Because of its abundance, it is an accessible and inexpensive coin for beginners, while advanced collectors focus on finding the highest possible grades certified by services such as PCGS or NGC. Full red road designations are preferred over red-brown (RB) or brown-BN, as the original red luster indicates minimal oxidation or handling. The historical continuity of the Lincoln cent is one of its defining features. Since 1909, it has spanned multiple eras: Wheat Ears 1909-1958, Lincoln Memorial 1959-2008, Bicentennial Reverses 2009, and Union Shield 2010 present. The 2014 cent fits squarely in the fourth era, carrying forward a legacy that has outlasted significant economic, cultural, and technological changes in the United States. Abraham Lincoln's image on the coin remains one of the most recognized portraits in U.S. coinage, reflecting his enduring reputation as the leader who preserved the Union and abolished slavery. The long-term outlook for the 2014 penny is that it will remain a common issue with minimal numismatic rarity in circulation for many decades. Its true value lies more in its symbolic, historical, and educational significance than in its monetary worth. However, as the debate over the future of the penny continues, coins from this era may one day be viewed as part of the final chapter of the denomination's history should production eventually cease. Collectors often speculate that if the penny were to be discontinued, even common dates like 2014 would gain increased historical interest. In conclusion, the 2014 United States 1-cent coin represents a modern continuation of a deeply rooted American tradition. With its copper-plated zinc composition, high mintage, Union Shield design, and iconic Lincoln portrait, it is both a functional piece of everyday currency and a symbol of unity, history, and national heritage. Though its face value is minimal and its collector premium is generally low, it serves as an enduring reminder of the nation's past and its ongoing relationship with small denomination coinage. Next coin. The 1976 United States of America 1-cent coin, commonly referred to as the Lincoln cent or penny, holds a distinctive place within the continuum of American coinage history. This coin belongs to the long-running Lincoln cent series, first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. The 1976 issue falls within the so-called Memorial Reverse era, which lasted from 1959 to 2008, featuring the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse side, a design created by Frank Gasparo to commemorate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. The obverse front of the 1976 cent retains the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner, which has been in continuous use since 1909, making it the longest-running design on a circulating U.S. coin. The year 1976 was a remarkable one in U.S. history because it marked the bicentennial of the United States, 200 years since the Declaration of Independence in 1776. Interestingly, while special bicentennial designs were issued for the quarter, half-dollar, and dollar coins in 1975–1976 bearing dual dates, 1776–1976, the 1-cent coin did not receive a special commemorative design or dual date. Instead, the penny remained in its standard design format with only the single date, 1976, on the obverse. This makes the 1976 Lincoln cent a curious part of U.S. bicentennial history, as it was struck in huge numbers during a milestone year but without the overt celebratory imagery that adorned other denominations. The composition of the 1976 penny is an important factor in its history. From 1962 to 1982, Lincoln cents were primarily struck in a bronze alloy consisting of 95% copper and 5% zinc, with a mass of 3.11 grams, a diameter of 19.05 millimeters, and a plain edge. This bronze composition, used for decades, gave the coins their rich reddish-brown appearance when freshly minted, which gradually toned to brown over time as copper oxidized. Because of its high copper content, each 1976 penny contains about 2.95 grams of copper, and during periods of high copper prices, the melt value of these coins often exceeded their face value of 1 cent. However, melting cents for their metal value is illegal in the United States. The 1976 cent was minted at 3 primary locations: the Philadelphia Mint No Mint Mark, the Denver Mint D Mint Mark, and the San Francisco Mint S Mint Mark, with the latter producing proof coins primarily for collectors. Philadelphia struck hundreds of millions of circulation coins, Denver produced an even higher quantity, and San Francisco's proof coins were made with superior striking quality, mirror-like fields, and frosted devices, making them attractive for collectors and part of annual proof sets. The obverse design, by Victor D. Brenner, prominently features the right-facing bust of President Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, whose leadership during the Civil War and the abolition of slavery made him an enduring national icon. Above his head is the motto, "In God We Trust," a phrase that became a standard on U.S. coinage during the 20th century. To the left of Lincoln's bust is the word, "Liberty," and to the right is the date, 1976, with the mint mark, if any, located just below the date. The reverse, designed by Frank Gasparo, depicts the Lincoln Memorial, complete with the tiny seated statue of Lincoln visible between the central columns if examined closely under magnification, an artistic tribute to the same president honored on the obverse. Encircling the top are the words, "United States of America," while the denomination, 1 cent, is boldly inscribed at the bottom. Just above the Lincoln Memorial is the national motto, "E pluribus unum," meaning, "out of many, one," symbolizing the unity of the states. From a numismatic perspective, the 1976 Lincoln cent is not considered rare, as it was struck in extremely high numbers, over 4.6 billion coins in total across all mints. Philadelphia, approximately 4.6 billion, Denver, over 4.2 billion, and San Francisco proof, around 4 million. Its value in circulated condition generally remains at face value, though well-preserved mint state MS examples, especially those with full original red luster graded as MS65RD or higher by third-party grading services, can carry a small premium for collectors. Proof coins with deep cameo contrast from San Francisco, graded PR69 DCAM or PR70 DCAM, are more desirable and can fetch a few dollars to several tens of dollars depending on the grade and market demand. Errors and varieties also play a role in collector interest. Some 1976 cents are known with striking errors such as off-center strikes, double dies, clipped planchettes, or die cracks, which can significantly increase their value depending on the severity and visibility of the error. For instance, a dramatic double die obverse (DDO) or reverse DDR can attract substantial interest. The historical context of the 1976 cent adds to its story. The mid-1970s were a time of economic turbulence in the United States, with inflationary pressures and fluctuating metal prices influencing coinage policies. The penny was already approaching a point where its metal content was worth close to or more than its face value, leading to discussions that eventually resulted in the composition change in 1982 from bronze to copper-plated zinc, 97.5% zinc, 2.5% copper. Thus, the 1976 Lincoln cent represents a pre-transition bronze era, a type of cent that modern collectors often separate from the post-1982 lightweight zinc cents. Culturally, the coin circulated widely during a period of patriotic reflection as Americans celebrated 200 years of independence. Though it did not receive a special bicentennial design, the sheer quantity struck ensured that nearly every American handled one during that historic year. In terms of collectability, the 1976 Lincoln cent is often included in type sets, year sets, and bicentennial-themed collections despite its standard design, simply because of its date significance. Uncirculated rolls and original bank-wrapped bags from this year are still found occasionally, particularly for the Denver Mint issues, which are known for slightly better strike quality than Philadelphia that year. The Philadelphia coins, lacking a mint mark, are generally more common in the East and Midwest, while Denver coins circulated more in the West and Southwest. Proof coins from San Francisco are distinguished by their S mint mark and were not intended for circulation, although a small number may have entered pocket change accidentally. Preservation of the coin's original, red, copper color is one of the key factors in its desirability for high-grade collectors. Copper is highly reactive and prone to oxidation, turning from bright red to reddish-brown and eventually to a uniform brown tone over decades. Coins stored in controlled environments, such as in airtight holders or certified slabs, tend to retain their original brilliance, while those exposed to air, moisture, or oils from handling will tone more rapidly. For this reason, A 1976 penny in true MS67RD condition is relatively scarce, though not as rare as some earlier Lincoln cents. The 1976 penny also serves as an educational coin, often found in school collections, penny boards, and entry-level numismatic kits, as it represents an accessible, affordable piece of U.S. history that nearly every collector can own. It embodies the enduring image of Lincoln, the nation's foundational ideals expressed through its mottos, and the transitional period before. Significant changes in coinage composition. Although its intrinsic value is minimal, its historical, cultural, and sentimental values far exceed its 1-cent denomination. Next coin. The 1986 United States of America 1-cent coin, more commonly known as the Lincoln Memorial Cent, is an integral part of modern U.S. numismatic history, reflecting the transition period between the dominance of copper-based coins and the era of predominantly zinc-based coinage. The coin bears the iconic portrait of the 16th President of the United States, Abraham Lincoln, on its obverse, and the reverse features the detailed depiction of the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C., which had been used since 1959 to commemorate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. The year 1986 is significant within the Lincoln Cent series because it firmly belongs to the post-1982 era when the composition of the coin had changed from the traditional 95% copper and 5% zinc alloy to a more cost-effective copper-plated zinc core, consisting of 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper plating. This transition had profound implications for the feel, sound, durability, and even collectability of these coins. The 1986 Lincoln Cent, struck at 3 U.S. Mint facilities, Philadelphia, No Mint Mark, Denver, D Mint Mark, and San Francisco, S Mint Mark, in proof format represents an era of mass production, where billions of pieces were struck to meet the enormous demand for pennies in circulation. On the obverse side, the design by Victor David Brenner, which has been in use since 1909, shows a right-facing bust of Abraham Lincoln, detailed with his distinctive beard, solemn expression, and sharp features. Above his head is the inscription, "In God We Trust," to the left is the word, "Liberty," and to the right is the date, 1986, which may also include the D Mint Mark for Denver or No Mint Mark for Philadelphia coins. Proof coins from San Francisco carry the S Mint Mark and are struck with greater precision, sharper details, and mirror-like fields. The reverse side, designed by Frank Gasparo, depicts the Lincoln Memorial in exquisite miniature detail, including the faint image of the statue of Lincoln seated inside, a feature many casual observers miss. The inscriptions on the reverse include, United States of America, across the top, E Pluribus Unum, just above the memorial, and 1 cent, at the bottom. The diameter of the coin is 19.05 millimeters, 0.75 inches, its thickness is 1.52 millimeters, 0.0598 inches, and its mass is 2.5 grams for the standard copper-plated zinc composition. However, a small number of 1986 cents may have been struck on the older copper planchettes left over from 1982, weighing 3.11 grams. These are considered rare transitional errors and command significant value among collectors. The mintage for 1986 was substantial, with the Philadelphia Mint producing over 4.4 billion coins, the Denver Mint striking more than 4.4 billion as well, and the San Francisco Mint issuing around 3 million proof coins. Due to such high production numbers, most 1986 Lincoln cents in circulated condition hold only face value, 1 cent, and are extremely common in pocket change even today. However, their collectability increases in higher grades, especially for coins graded mint state MS 66 or higher by grading services such as PCGS or NGC, where pristine surfaces, sharp strikes, and full original red luster can make them worth several dollars to tens of dollars depending on the grade and demand. Proof coins in deep cameo DCAM condition are also sought after, with high-grade examples valued more substantially, particularly in PR70. One of the most fascinating aspects of 1986 cents for numismatists is the study of errors and varieties. Examples include off-center strikes, broad strikes, double dies, though no major double die is officially recognized for this year. Minor ones exist: clipped planchets, die cracks, and plating bubbles caused by the relatively thin copper layer over the zinc core. These errors can make a coin worth from a few dollars to hundreds, depending on severity and collector interest. Historically, the 1986 cent exists in a period of economic considerations for the United States Mint. Rising copper prices in the late 1970s and early 1980s had made the cost of producing each penny exceed its face value, prompting the shift in 1982 to zinc cores. By 1986, the zinc cent had become standard, and most Americans were unaware of the change aside from noticing occasional differences in tone or sound when dropped. The coin's design also reflects the cultural reverence for Abraham Lincoln, as he remains the only U.S. president to appear on both a circulating coin and a paper bill, the $5 note, with the same portrait era. The Lincoln Memorial design, used from 1959 until 2008, provided a strong architectural symbol of unity and remembrance during the Cold War era and beyond. By 1986, the memorial reverse had become iconic but also somewhat routine, as collectors and the general public were accustomed to its long-standing presence. From a modern numismatic perspective, the 1986 penny is typically collected as part of the Lincoln Memorial Cent series, which spans from 1959 to 2008. Complete collections often include both Philadelphia and Denver issues for each year, as well as proofs from San Francisco. Collectors seeking top-quality examples look for coins with full red luster, designated RD, as cents tend to tone brown BN, or red-brown RB over time, especially if exposed to air and moisture. Storage in inert holders, such as mylar flips or encapsulated slabs, helps preserve their appearance. Although the 1986 cent is not rare, its role in everyday commerce and its representation of a pivotal period in U.S. minting history make it an enduring piece of American culture. It also highlights the ongoing debate about the utility of the penny itself, as production costs, inflation, and changing consumer habits have led many to question whether the cent should be discontinued, a discussion that began in the 1980s and continues today. For those interested in investment or future value potential, the 1986 cent is not typically considered a high-value coin unless it is an error, variety, or in superb gem condition. Bulk rolls and uncirculated bags remain available at low premiums, making them accessible for beginning collectors. However, the historical importance of the composition change and the sheer number of coins struck during the mid-1980s mean that future generations of collectors may revisit this era with greater interest, especially if the penny is ever discontinued. The 1986 penny thus serves as a snapshot of late 20th century American coinage, mass-produced, modest in face value, but steeped in historical symbolism and transitional economic policy. In summary, the 1986 United States 1-cent coin is a copper-plated zinc Lincoln Memorial cent struck in massive quantities at Philadelphia and Denver for circulation, with proofs from San Francisco. It carries the classic Brenner obverse and Gasparro reverse, weighs 2.5 grams, zinc core, or rarely 3.11 grams, copper transitional error, and remains common in circulation. Its value is generally 1 cent in worn condition, a few cents to a few dollars in uncirculated condition, and potentially much higher for rare errors, high-grade proofs, or unique varieties. More than just a coin, it represents the everyday economy of 1980s America, the enduring legacy of Abraham Lincoln, and the practical challenges faced by the U.S. Mint in balancing tradition, public trust, and economic feasibility. Next coin. The 1974 United States 1-cent coin, commonly known as the Lincoln cent, represents one of the most fascinating chapters in modern U.S. coinage history. While on the surface it appears to be just another copper-colored coin bearing the familiar portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, the year 1974 holds a special place due to its experimental coinage materials, transitional minting practices, and its position in the midst of a turbulent economic era marked by inflation, the aftermath of the Vietnam War, and the Watergate scandal. This coin is part of the long-running Lincoln cent series, which began in 1909 to commemorate the centennial of Lincoln's birth. By 1974, the series had already been in circulation for 65 years, and the nation was preparing for a dramatic shift in the composition of its smallest denomination. Historical context of the 1974 1-cent coin. The early 1970s were marked by significant changes in U.S. economic policy and material shortages that directly affected the production of coinage. The United States faced rising copper prices due to global market pressures, inflationary concerns, and increasing costs of minting low-denomination coins. The Lincoln cent had been composed primarily of copper since its introduction in 1909, with a composition of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc for much of its history. However, by the early 1970s, the intrinsic value of copper was increasing to a point where the cost of producing a 1-cent coin was approaching or even exceeding its face value. The U.S. Mint, under the Treasury Department, began exploring alternative materials to maintain cost-effectiveness. 1974 became a pivotal year in this experimentation, with the famous and highly controversial aluminum cent trials. These experimental aluminum cents were struck in large numbers, over 1 million pieces, intended for potential circulation testing. However, due to objections from Congress, the vending machine industry, and concerns about the coin's detectability in machines and its health implications, aluminum coins posed a potential risk if accidentally ingested. These coins were never released for general circulation and were recalled and melted down. A few aluminum cents escaped destruction and are now among the most famous modern numismatic rarities. Design elements of the 1974 Lincoln cent. The 1974 cent continued the iconic design introduced in 1909 by Victor David Brenner, which features obverse front, the right-facing bust of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, whose leadership during the Civil War and his role in abolishing slavery have made him one of the most revered American figures. Above Lincoln's head is the motto, "In God We Trust," a standard feature on U.S. coinage since the Civil War era. To the left of the portrait is the word, liberty, symbolizing the American ideal of freedom, and to the right is the date 1974, with a mintmark below it if applicable, D for Denver, S for San Francisco, or no mintmark for Philadelphia. Reverse back, the Lincoln Memorial design by Frank Gasparo, which had replaced the original wheat ears reverse in 1959 to mark the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. The memorial is detailed enough that, with close inspection, one can see a tiny representation of the seated statue of Lincoln within the monument's center. Above is the inscription, United States of America, and the national motto, E pluribus unum, out of many, one. The denomination, 1 cent, appears at the bottom. This design remained unchanged from 1959 through 2008, making it one of the longest-running reverse designs in U.S. coin history. Composition in the copper crisis. The standard 1974 cent was composed of 95% copper and 5% zinc, weighing 3.11 grams with a diameter of 19.05 millimeters. However, as copper prices soared, the mint tested other alloys, most notably aluminum, weighing 0.93 grams, and a bronze-clad steel composition. The standard bronze cents struck for circulation were still made of the traditional composition, but this year became a turning point leading to the transition in 1982, when the U.S. Mint officially switched to a copper-plated zinc composition, 97.5% zinc, 2.5% copper. Mintages and varieties. The 1974 Lincoln cent was produced in enormous numbers, reflecting the high demand for low-denomination coins during an era of rapid economic activity. The mints involved were Philadelphia, no mintmark, over 4 billion coins. Denver, D, over 4.2 billion coins. San Francisco, S, about 4 billion proof coins and circulation strikes. Key varieties include 1974 aluminum cent pattern, not released. 1974's proof, highly collectible in high grades. Minor die varieties, including doubled dies and repunched mintmarks, RPMs, which are sought after by specialists. Economic backdrop and circulation. In 1974, the United States was experiencing economic challenges, including the oil crisis of 1973, rising inflation, and the lingering costs of the Vietnam War. 1-cent coins were still widely used in everyday transactions, but their purchasing power had diminished significantly compared to earlier decades. The coin could still buy small items like a piece of candy or a gumball, but inflation was gradually eroding its real-world value. Collectability and value. For most circulated 1974 cents, the value remains 1 cent due to the massive mintage. However, proof coins, coins in pristine uncirculated condition, Mississippi 65 or higher, and coins with notable varieties, such as double dies, can command collector premiums ranging from a few dollars to hundreds of dollars in exceptional cases. The most famous and valuable 1974 cents are the aluminum cents, which are so rare that only a few are known to exist, and their legal status remains controversial. These are considered patterns and are not legal to own without government permission. Cultural and numismatic significance. The 1974 cent stands as a symbolic artifact of mid-1970s America, a period marked by political upheaval. President Nixon resigned in 1974 amid the Watergate scandal, economic instability, and shifts in U.S. manufacturing and monetary policy. As one of the last years before the composition change debates intensified, it reflects both continuity in design and change in material experimentation. Numismatically, it serves as a transitional point in the long history of the Lincoln cent, bridging the earlier copper-rich coins and the modern zinc-based cents we use today. Collectors often include the 1974 cent in sets not for its rarity in circulation but for its connection to one of the most intriguing, what could have been, stories in U.S. coinage, the aluminum cent. Legacy of the 1974 1-cent coin. Today, the 1974 cent continues to circulate, though in diminishing numbers as older coins are gradually removed or worn down. It remains a popular coin among beginning collectors, a historical touchpoint for those interested in the economic history of the 1970s, and a fascinating study in how something as small as a 1-cent coin can reflect broader national issues, from resource scarcity to political controversies. The Lincoln cent series itself remains the longest-running coin design in U.S. history, and the 1974 issue is a reminder of how even the smallest denomination carries with it stories of innovation, controversy, and continuity. Next coin. The 1992 United States 1-cent coin, more commonly referred to as the Lincoln cent or penny, represents a fascinating chapter in the continuing legacy of the Lincoln series, which has been in circulation since 1909. This coin, bearing the portrait of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, was part of a series that marked one of the longest-running coin designs in American history. By 1992, the Lincoln cent had already undergone several transitions in its composition, reverse design, and minting process. The year 1992 is particularly interesting to numismatists, coin collectors, not only because it is part of the Lincoln Memorial reverse design era 1959-2008, but also due to the existence of rare and valuable, close AM, reverse variety errors that make this year's issue highly collectible. To understand the 1992 1-cent coin, it is essential to explore its historical background. The Lincoln cent was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth, designed by Victor David Brenner, and it replaced the Indian head cent. For the first 50 years, the reverse bore the wheat ears design until it was changed in 1959 to the Lincoln Memorial reverse, designed by Frank Gasparo, to celebrate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. The 1992 cent therefore belongs to the Lincoln Memorial series, which prominently features the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C., with the tiny seated statue of Lincoln visible between the memorial's columns, a unique feature that is visible with magnification. The obverse front design of the 1992 1-cent coin features a right-facing portrait of Abraham Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner, which has remained largely unchanged since its introduction, apart from minor modifications and sharpening over the decades. Above Lincoln's head is the national motto, "In God We Trust," to the left is the word, "Liberty," and to the right appears the date 1992, which may also include a mintmark below it. The mintmarks used for the 1992 Lincoln cent were no mintmark for Philadelphia, D for Denver, and S for San Francisco proof coins. The Philadelphia Mint produced coins without a mintmark for circulation, Denver minted circulation strikes with the D, and San Francisco struck high-quality proof coins, which were sold in special collector sets and are highly reflective with frosted details. The reverse-back design of the 1992 penny is where its special numismatic interest lies. It features the Lincoln Memorial with the inscriptions, United States of America, along the top rim and the Latin motto, E pluribus unum, above the memorial. Below the memorial is the denomination, 1 cent. However, in 1992, the U.S. Mint was preparing for a design transition that would fully occur in 1993. A change in the spacing between the letters A and M in America. In most 1992 cents, there is a wide AM WAM spacing, which is standard for the 1989-1992 coins, where the A and M are visibly apart. But a small number of coins, due to the use of a 1993 proof reverse die in 1992 production, exhibit the close AM cam variety, where the A and M are nearly touching. This error variety is extremely rare and valuable, with some selling for thousands of dollars depending on condition and mint, particularly the 1992 D close AM. This variety occurred both in Philadelphia, no mintmark, and Denver issues. Regarding composition, by 1992, the Lincoln cent had already undergone a significant material change. From 1909 until mid-1982, cents were primarily made of 95% copper and 5% zinc. However, due to the rising cost of copper, the composition was changed in 1982 to a primarily zinc core with a thin copper plating, resulting in coins made of 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper plating, with a total weight of 2.5 grams compared to the earlier copper cents weighing 3.11 grams. Thus, the 1992 1-cent coin is a zinc-based coin, and this makes it more susceptible to environmental damage, corrosion, and pitting over time if not properly stored. The mintage figures for the 1992 Lincoln cent were significant, as the U.S. Mint produced billions of these coins for circulation. The Philadelphia Mint struck approximately 4,648,905,000 coins, the Denver Mint produced around 4,448,673,300 coins, and the San Francisco Mint struck about 3,650,000 proof coins. Because of this massive production, the regular 1992 cents are generally considered common and hold only face value in circulated condition. However, the aforementioned close AM error varieties are exceedingly rare and command substantial premiums in the numismatic market. The dimensions of the 1992 Lincoln cent are standard for post-1982 pennies. It has a diameter of 19.05 millimeters, a thickness of 1.52 millimeters, a plain, smooth edge, and a weight of 2.5 grams. These dimensions are part of what makes it recognizable worldwide as the U.S. penny. In terms of historical context, the 1992 penny circulated widely during the early 1990s, a period of economic change in the United States marked by the presidency of George H.W. Bush and the election of Bill Clinton. It was used in everyday commerce, vending machines, and savings jars across the country, serving its traditional role as the smallest denomination of U.S. currency. Though its purchasing power had declined significantly since the early 20th century, the penny remained a familiar coin in daily life. From a collectability perspective, The 1992 1-cent coin is particularly sought after by collectors looking for the close AM variety, high-grade mint state examples MS66 Mega Siemens 67 Red, and deep cameo-proof specimens from San Francisco. Most circulated examples hold little premium beyond face value, but uncirculated rolls and mint sets are still of interest to those completing Lincoln Memorial cent collections. Errors and varieties in 1992 cents other than the close AM include common striking errors such as off-centers, die cracks, cuds, and double dies, though major double dies for this year are relatively scarce compared to other dates. Culturally, the penny has often been the subject of debate regarding its continued production, as the cost to produce a 1-cent coin, especially zinc-based, has often exceeded its face value in recent years. However, in 1992, its production continued unabated, and it remains an iconic symbol of American currency. To identify a genuine 1992 close AM penny, one must look closely at the spacing between the A and M in America on the reverse. In the close AM, the bottoms of the A and M are nearly touching, whereas in the wide AM, there is a clear gap. Additionally, the designer's initials, FG, for Frank Gasparo, are slightly different in position between the varieties. Because counterfeiters may attempt to alter wide AM coins, authentication by a professional grading service, such as PCGS or NGC, is recommended for rare varieties. Today, the value of a regular 1992 penny in circulated condition is 1 cent, while uncirculated mint state examples may range from 10 cents to $5 depending on grade and luster. However, a 1992 close AM in mint state red can sell for $5,000 to $15,000 plus, while a 1992 Philadelphia close AM can also bring thousands in top condition. Proof versions are worth a few dollars depending on cameo quality. The 1992 penny thus stands as both a common workhorse of American commerce and a potential treasure for those who discover one of its rare varieties. It represents the tail end of the Lincoln Memorial design before the transition to the close AM. Reverse in 1993 and the eventual redesign to the Lincoln Bicentennial Series in 2009. Please like and subscribe my channel.